You are now listening to the Do Well Collective podcast, where we help Christian millennials put their faith to work through authentic conversations and community. For season 3, our theme is faith and action. More and more, we are seeing people connected to in powerful ways, and our desire is to capture the knowledge, experience, and wisdom of those who are doing it. This season, we will conduct a series of compelling conversations with leaders in industry on the topic of faith and work. Be prepared to be informed, encouraged, and inspired. For today's episode, our special guest is Mayah Williams, founder of MaconIt and author of the Soul Food Journal. Get to know her better right now. Let's jump into the episode. Welcome to the Do Well Collective podcast, man. We got a special episode for y'all today, man. I'm one half of the Do Well Collective podcast. My name is Jalen Javier. And man, my brother Craig, Craig, we miss you, man. We miss you, bro. Craig is taking care of home right now, man, taking care of the family, making sure they are good in health. So that's what we want y'all to know, man. Listen, this is not some randomly thing where we have it all perfect all the time. Everything is all perfect. No, man, real life. We want y'all to know, hey, if family need to be taken care of, listen, y'all gonna wait on this episode. So we want y'all to know that. But no, Craig is here in spirit. Now, before we get too deep into the episode and before we introduce our special guest, we want to let you all know where you can find us. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Do Well Collective. If you want to stream us, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and any other platforms we have, you can find in our bio on Instagram. So we want to thank you all for your support, and be sure to share this episode because you are not going to want to let these gems just stay with you. Trust me. But we want to just go forward today with our guest. We have a awesome person today, man. I'm telling y'all, like, this conversation is going to be awesome. The person we have today, she is multi-hyphenate. That's the new statement. You know what I'm saying? Multi-hyphenate. She's an author. She's a scholar. She's a mental health advocate. She's a believer. Listen, killing the game on all fronts. Seriously. She's smiling right now. Yes, killing the game on all fronts. So without further ado, I want to introduce you all to Mayah Williams. Mayah, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for that intro. My goodness. I'm just super grateful to be here today.
Yes, man. We are so glad to have you this morning. Seriously. Man. So Mayah, man, so we want to go ahead and get started. So I want to go ahead and ask you first, because I may know some of these things, but it's going to be great to hear from you. So Mayah, tell us, man, just, who are you during your formative years? Who was Mayah during her formative years?
Yeah. So I think back to young Mayah. I feel like I was very social. I loved friends. I loved going out with my friends, play dates back then. I just really enjoyed connection and being on teams and being in friend groups from a young age, still do. I think I was curious. I was very curious and observant. I have always been a leader, and it took me a while to acknowledge that and feel comfortable saying that, but I have always been someone who really loves to start things. And I've always been a helper. I think even at a young age, I found joy in helping people, whether it was a teacher or my parents or a friend. I just always found myself gravitating to situations where I can lend a hand. I think that sums up young Mayah, and I'm still learning, so I still consider myself in some formative years now as well.
Absolutely. I love that, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's so beautiful, man, to hear that, because that's all those things you used to describe yourself just now are absolutely, absolutely, like, characteristic that I've known you. For some people who might not know, a little background, Mayah and I are actually we've known each other almost our whole lives.
Yeah, like a
Almost our
very
whole lives. Yes. We
yeah.
are both members and family of Lundy Chapel out of Macon, Georgia. And so I've known Mayah since we were all little kids running around the Lundy campus.
Yeah.
Yes, man. So it's awesome to see, just where you've come to. And yeah, that helpful, kind spirit that has always been you, man. So that's amazing to hear it from your perspective. So I want to ask, talking about that a little bit, when did you discover that you are a creative person? If y'all go to Mayah's pages, notice I said pages. she is a creative person, man. So when did you realize that about yourself?
Yeah. So I've always been creative. I think more recently I've started becoming more comfortable labeling myself as a creative.
Yeah.
Um, I think I was definitely able to operate more in my creativity in college with school projects, really.
Yeah.
I was always the person who who took the project like a step further, and like my classmates would be rolling their eyes and stuff like that. But I just love to figure out more creative ways to engage people and
Yeah.
have them not be snoozing through, my project,
Yeah.
And so I've always enjoyed finding ways to make things better and more interesting.
Yeah.
More recently, like I mentioned earlier, I've become more comfortable calling myself a creative because
Mm.
I've always felt like that label was reserved for artists, right? And since
Mm.
I'm not a musician, right?
Mm.
I'm not a professional painter or I don't draw or anything like
Right.
that, right?
Right.
And so I never felt comfortable calling myself that. But as I've gotten to know more about myself and kind of withdrawn from these ideas that society has imposed on us, I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? I am creative. I'm creative in the way that I think, and that definitely shows through the things that I do, through my journal, through my nonprofit,
Yeah.
through my friendships, how I put gifts together,
Mhm.
just different things like that. And so, more recently, I've discovered that I've always known that I was creative, but more recently, I've acknowledged it and decided to label myself as a creative.
Oh, that's dope. That's so dope. So you were in college, like group project. You're like, hey, listen, regardless of what's happening, we getting an A. Listen, y'all don't I don't know what y'all
Yes, that was
on.
me. It was like, we're going to have this handout
Right.
and we're going to ask everyone to stand up and stretch, just like over the top. That was me.
Yes,
Definitely
yes.
me.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. That's so awesome, man. Listen, and you are absolutely a creative for sure, for
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah.
Oh man. So talking about that, man, I know you talked about how you as you grew up, you said that you always had this sense in yourself that you wanted to be helpful to people, kind to people, and also a creative person. So tell us, like, man, how did your faith journey start, and how did that start to infuse itself into how you work?
hmm Yeah. So I have always been a faithful person.
Mm,
Um, I think because, like you mentioned, Lundy grew up in the church.
yeah.
Um, I have a like my dad is a prayer warrior. My mom always has us in the church. She's always, there with me. My sister's super faithful. So I've grown up in a faithful family.
Mm,
Um, and so I feel like my faith is, like you mentioned, infused in my work. Just
yeah.
inherently, it's always been there. I think that I keep saying more recently because all these I've become more
Yeah.
self-aware
Yeah.
more recently. So
Yeah.
I think more recently I've been more obedient
Mm,
and less
mm,
afraid to truly operate in whatever it is that God places on my heart. I think
mm.
things have always been placed on my heart, but there were times where I didn't feel like I had the knowledge or the tools or the experiences to do it correctly in
Yeah.
my eyes. But now I'm understanding more that with my faith, like if God has equipped me with everything that, if I truly believe that God has equipped me with everything that I need to do what has been placed on my heart, why wouldn't I go for it? And so more recently, I've been trying to operate in that mindset. Like you can do it because it was placed on your heart to do.
That's so
Yeah.
good. Oh man, you set some people free just now. You know that, right?
Come on, free yourself. Let's get
That is
free.
so. Oh man, that is
Yeah.
encouraging. I love going back a little bit where you said you grew up in a faithful environment, and so like you said, it built those things in almost inherently. But I love what you said, that man, I have to believe, those things that were put in me, that's part of that faith. I think sometimes we hear faith and we're like, okay, I got faith that, man, this job is going to happen right now. This thing is going to happen. This situation is about to change, which is absolutely, valid. But sometimes it does take us having that faith in ourselves, for the person, the characteristics, the gifts that God has placed inside of us, and believing that, hey, this wasn't accidental. I'm not accidental. Nothing about my life, this isn't accidental. God has a purpose and a plan for my life, and these giftings and these abilities and these things that He places on your heart, those aren't accidental. So having that faith to know, man, like you said, if God put it in my heart, then I am equipped to go forward, so
Oh, yeah,
that's,
absolutely. And faith and belief is a daily choice
mm,
because there will be days, most days, where it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
come on,
Everything around
come
us
on.
is pointing to no,
Oh, come
right?
on, come on.
But you have to choose daily that, okay, if I believe that all grace abound towards me, that I'll have all sufficiency in
Mm,
all things and every great
mm,
work, if I truly believe that, I have to
mm,
decide daily that
mm,
I am going to operate in that. And it's
mm,
not easy, but it's freeing. And I rather live a life full of faith and belief than being here operating in this life daily thinking that nothing great is going to come towards me. Then what are you
mm.
living for, right?
Ooh, that's
If
good.
that's
Oh,
what, I don't know what a faithless life would feel like. I would imagine very miserable.
ooh.
So,
My,
yeah.
listen, I'm about to pass the collection plate. That's right now. Listen. We take them through Cash App too. Listen, we go.
Okay.
No, that is good. Absolutely, absolutely. That's inspiring. Oh my gosh, Maya, come on now. Listen, no, don't get me worked up. Now I gotta make
Don't
it.
get
You
you
gotta make
worked
it.
up. Okay. I'll settle
No,
down.
I love that. That's so many gems. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Progressing a little bit, right? Now I know we talked about a lot of different adjectives that described you, and one that I truly, truly know is scholar. Is scholar, is scholar, is scholar. Seriously. So, as alumna, I want to make sure I'm saying that right, alumna,
Yes.
of Spelman, University of New Haven. How did those years like impact you and shape you as a person?
Oh my goodness. Um, those both of those institutions have played such an important role in my development. Um, for Spelman, I'll take both of them separately. Spelman was the absolute best experience I've ever had, the best 4 years ever. When you hear people just really giving their all to Spelman and
Mm-hmm.
talking about how great it is, it's not a facade.
Yeah.
No one is lying because it is truly, and for me, let me speak for me. It was truly for me a space where I was always affirmed.
Mm-hmm.
I was always empowered. I was always uplifted as a Black woman. And
Mm-hmm.
what I loved so much about it, and what I've been able to notice now that I'm out of it, is that Black history and women empowerment and womanism was deeply rooted in all of our studies. So
Mm.
although we did have, separate classes that talked about it more specifically, delved into the research,
Right.
it was, I could be in math class and history pop up, right? It was just deeply
Right.
infused in the curriculum.
Wow.
And I love that because I feel like as a nation, like Black history and women's studies and womenism, all of those isms are so separate,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're going to learn this, but if you want to learn about Black people, go take this class.
Yeah.
If you want
Yeah.
to do more for Black people, join this diversity and inclusion committee.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
so separate. But
Yeah.
my prayer for our world one day, maybe our children will see it, our children's children, is that
Yes.
these isms are so deeply rooted in everything that we do that it doesn't have to be separate. And
Yeah.
so that having that experience has shaped how I operate and my desire for any of the spaces that I occupy. So at work, that's my goal, that we're always talking about it, right? We're always talking
Yeah.
about Black people. We're always talking
Yeah.
about underserved,
Yeah.
in my friendships, wherever that may be. And so
Yeah.
I definitely, owe Spelman for that.
Absolutely.
And then University of New Haven, I went to get my degree in community psychology with a
Mm-hmm.
concentration in program development from there. It was truly a divine timing and a divine situation because in college I declared that I was going to get a full ride somewhere. I wasn't paying for grad school.
Yeah.
And when I graduated Spelman, I didn't have anything. I
Mhm.
saw University of New Haven and I did apply. Forgot I applied, really.
Wow.
Got in probably in May. So got in before graduation, but it's a private school, super expensive.
Yeah.
I want to say in June, I basically got a full ride. So I got
Wow.
not only all of my tuition paid, but I got a position to work as a resident director. So I was
Mm.
getting a stipend on top of that. I got
Mm.
housing on campus. I had my own apartment and I had a full meal plan.
Oh
So
my goodness.
literally,
Jeez.
all I had to do was get to Connecticut.
Let's
That was
go.
it. I just had to get to Connecticut. And just being in that community psychology program just allowed me to learn more about things that I already knew I loved. I love the idea of connection and making people
Mm.
feel like they belong.
Mm.
Um, I love friendship. I love relationships. I love helping, like we've
Yeah.
explained. And that's truly what community psychology is. We're
Yes.
studying how, not so much how people can morph into society, but more so what can society do to make sure that the people who they are serving are well, right? So
Yes.
let's,
Yeah.
a counselor focuses on you, we focus on the environment.
Yes. That's
I know I
awesome.
said a lot,
No,
but
no, no. The
yes,
key,
yes, yes,
yeah, no, that's what we want, man. That's what we want,
yes,
man. That
yeah.
is wow, wow. That is awesome. That's so awesome, man. Wow. I love hearing your experience and just to hear that you said, especially going back to Spelman for a second, to say that you were constantly feeling like you were in an environment where you were affirmed. That's so important. That just
So important because I had that experience, like I mentioned.
mhm.
I can't I can't not create that for other people.
Yeah.
I can't not because I've
Yes.
had it, I've felt it. I understand how enriching, uplifting it is, and so I'm like, everybody needs it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Everyone needs that. That's so important, man. And speaking of, like you said, community. One thing as a community, especially like in the African American community, and now by large, one thing that we have seen a heavy increase in the last few years is investment and at least a more acknowledgement of mental health. And so for you, like what part does that play in like how you work through what you learn through community psychology and for the work that you do now?
Mhm. So, how does community psychology kind of play a role in mental health advocacy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, honestly, I don't think people know the actual benefits of community and connection,
Yeah.
like beyond feeling, beyond just knowing that we're all here on the earth. So, therefore, of course, we're supposed to be connected to people, right? You're born
Right.
into a family.
Right.
So, but beyond that, like research shows
Yeah.
that being connected to people, being in spaces where you feel like you belong, has wonderful mental health benefits for the individual, and then benefits for the community as well.
Yes.
When you have a higher sense of community, you are more likely to engage in our political processes. You're more
Yeah.
likely to care for your neighbors, right? You're more likely to do more in the community. And that's really when people do more, when people care, that's when we see our communities truly flourishing. And
Yes.
so, so beyond, just knowing that we're supposed to be connected to people, there
Yeah.
are mental health benefits to it.
Wow.
And I think we really, being in a pandemic, has shed so much light on that,
Yes.
because mental health issues have increased so much. And a lot of it is because people aren't connected to people in the same way.
Yes. Yes.
We didn't get to go to our friends' houses at a drop of a whim, right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to see that neighbor that maybe we went to their house frequently, or, we didn't get to do that. Or
Yes.
our neighborhood grocery store. We didn't get to see Billy who works at the cash register, right? And
Right. Right.
those seemingly small moments of connection are truly helping us develop and are bringing us some sort of uh, the sense of belonging and the sense of community that is triggering the great things in our mind, right? The happiness in us that we need to be well.
Wow.
And so, yeah, community directly, it is
Yes.
merged, with mental health. There's so many benefits.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Yes, I totally that's so real because, this is community, man. It's so needed.
It's,
Oh my
it's
gosh, it's
so
so needed.
important. And
It's
that's
so
why you
important.
hear people saying, although Zoom and things, people are zoomed out. We get it because, everybody's working from Zoom and things. It
Yeah.
is important to, maybe make that once a month call to friends.
Yes.
Truly, truly try to connect with people, because it is good for our mental health. It truly is.
Yes. Oh man, love it, love it. Now, speaking of community, man, you are a person who is man, you are setting the community on fire, man, with the work that you are
Oh,
doing. Seriously.
thank you.
So you have a lot of different irons in the fire. So we want to talk about one that is really major, man. Making it. Tell us about making it, man. Tell us about that.
Yes, MaconIt is like my child. So anytime someone brings it up, I'm like, oh, let me tell you about my kid.
Yes.
Yeah, so MaconIt is a nonprofit organization that works to provide social and financial support to students through college and beyond.
Yes.
It was founded in 2015 when I was a sophomore in college. Um, Me and some of my colleagues started planning the first ever MaconIt College success ceremony. Basically, I remember being a high school student and walking the hallways during career fairs, or college fairs, and I remember saying, "Where are the HBCUs?" One, that was always one of my
Yeah,
questions.
yep, yep,
But then
yep,
also,
absolutely.
who are these people? They look like they're probably in their 40s, which, no, I'm not ageism, but my point was
Yeah.
that, did they graduate from these universities recently? Did they, so I just had
Right,
questions. I was just
right.
assessing, I was observing, I had questions, and I
Absolutely,
realized
absolutely.
that I thought it'd be a dope experience if students would be able to have these conversations about the universities, the colleges and universities, with recent students,
Right,
current students, recent grads, so that you
right,
could tell me more, not just, what the pamphlet says, but here, this
right,
was my experience. This is what I did.
right. And
This
it's
is the
recent.
professor I had. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
And so that was one thing that inspired me to found MaconIt. But then the other thing, going back to the MaconIt College Success Ceremony, I thoroughly got a thrill out of hearing all of the successes of people from my hometown.
Yes.
So when they got into college, when they got a new leadership position,
Yeah.
when they got an award, I was just like, this is amazing. And
Yes.
so I was like, you know what? We're going to host a program where we invite the whole community out
Yes.
to celebrate these college students,
Yes.
and to empower and uplift us. And that's
Hmm.
really, really, I remember being in my dorm room one day and I was like, yeah, I'm going to start planning it now. And I just started making calls. And from there, birth MaconIt, and we've been running, I think, almost 7 years now, which is
Yeah.
wild.
Wow.
And we've highlighted over 100 people for Macon.
Mm.
And it's just been an absolutely, oh, I don't have a word for what type of experience it's been, but I'm just so grateful for the people that I've met and the service that we've been able to do together
Yes.
through Macon.
Wow, man, I love it. Oh man, Macon,
Mm.
Georgia, man, Macon, Georgia, stand up, man. I
Macon,
love
Georgia.
it.
Okay, stand
Yes,
up.
yes, stand up, man. Oh man, I love it. That is so powerful, impactful, man. Just because we need more of that, just to see that in our community. Just the spotlight, because a lot of times we see different things, especially coming from Macon, man. Sometimes there can
Mhm.
be such a negative perception
Yes,
of different things happening in the city, which there's negative things happening in every city. Every city you go to, there's gonna be things. But on the other side, there's so many people doing great work, so many people who are advancing the kingdom, advancing great, causes. And I really truly believe and know that Making It is one of those things that's helping to advance the city, helping to advance the mindset, and also, man, just highlight those things. We need to see more of that, and people who are young, like you said, I think that is so important, because a lot of times, we grew up, you have the day in the gym, you have the little time in the gym, and the person
mhm.
comes and you're like, man, I respect.
Yeah,
You're 50 though. I'm 18. I can't really connect.
you
But
know?
when you're seeing, like you said, you're in high school and you're meeting a sophomore from Spelman, and they're able to tell you, hey, I understand your plight. I understand what you're thinking right now. I was just there. I overcame it through these
Yeah,
means. And I'm here in service of you, and so
yes,
that is so great. Now, I noticed you said that Making It is a nonprofit. So for people out there, could you tell us just a little bit, because I know that there's people out there who are looking, man, I'm ready to start a nonprofit myself, I'm ready to do this. So like what would be like some of maybe the challenges that you faced in doing that, and how did you like overcome those?
yeah. So, initially, my challenge was that I didn't know anything about developing nonprofit. As a
Right.
19-year-old, I was
Yeah.
just like, I know I don't necessarily want like I knew that I wasn't doing this to make money. Now, not
Mhm.
people who work in nonprofits can make money.
Right,
I
right,
feel like that's important because I
right,
feel like people are like, no, you can
right,
make money. It is legal
right,
to make money. You should make money
right,
if you want, right?
right,
But I knew that I was not doing this to make money, and that's the difference
right,
between a nonprofit and for-profit organization,
right,
the intention
right.
behind it. So a challenge was how do how do I do this?
Yes,
Really, like
yes,
what paperwork do I need?
yes.
What's legal? What can I do?
Mhm.
And so it took me some years actually
Yeah.
to get that answer and to find the time to do it. Because of course, like I said, I was in college.
Mhm.
I was working, right? And so,
Yes.
and I didn't know a person to go to. Of course, you can go on
Mm.
Google and look things up. I'm always pro Google. Look it up first, but I'm definitely I like to be guided. I like someone
Yes.
to show me, and I didn't have that at the time. And
Mm.
so that was very challenging for me. And then definitely another challenge with nonprofits is that when it's your idea, and probably, as an entrepreneur, that this will probably resonate with entrepreneurs as well, is that when it's your idea, your baby, your vision, you see it in a different light than anybody else.
That's good.
And so sometimes when people don't seem to be as receptive to your baby, to your vision as you are,
Mm-hmm.
it can get, you can feel discouraged if you allow yourself to get there. Because
Yeah,
you're like,
that's good.
like what? This is,
Right.
this is this thing. This is my child, right? Like
Right.
I know what it is. I know what it can become. Why aren't
Right.
you giving more? Why aren't you
Right.
sharing more? Why aren't you all
Right.
in? I'm up work.
Right.
Why don't you feel me? Is what it can feel like,
Right.
right? Like why
Right.
don't you love it like I do?
Yes.
Um, but what I had to realize is that going back to that initial statement, it is my child and
That's
they
good.
might not see it the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that they don't love it. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that they don't want to support. It just means that our love and our support looks different.
That's good.
And that's okay.
Oh my
And so
goodness.
that is definitely a challenge I had to overcome, knowing that people aren't going to see it the way I see it, and that's fine. But it's still very important, and it's still very important to others, especially for me. The people who are in MaconIt, our community members, are all in. They love
Yes.
it so much,
Yes.
and I just appreciate that. And so, yeah, that was definitely two challenges.
Yes, that's oh man, I love that. I love what you just shared, man. Because like you said, and that's why I'm so grateful to have you on here today. Because just to have another person, like you said, someone can listen to this and look you up and be like, okay, this is someone who does understand this process. I didn't have, like you said, you didn't have that person for you when you started this process. So just knowing that you took on the reins and now are in a position to help that next person, man. That's beautiful. Seriously. And speaking of
Absolutely.
making it right, you all just launched the app too, right?
So we have our website Wix,
Yes.
and so through Wix there is a plan that you can have that allows you to like develop an app. It
Uh,
is. I've always said it's so crazy. Another thing that's divine. I've always said it would be great to have a MaconIt app, but I'm not an
yeah.
app developer. I haven't had the time to sit down and see
Mhm.
what that process is like. So
Yeah.
when I realized that Wix had a mobile app that you
Wow.
can make your own, right? You
Yeah.
truly make your
Yeah.
own. It does absolutely everything that
Yes.
I ever wanted to have on a MaconIt app. And so yes,
Wow.
that has launched. We're still working on getting our members on it and more familiar because it's something new,
Hmm.
but it is truly like taking our once it is being used to its full capacity, it's going to take our membership to the next level because there's just so many opportunities to share and to share and to connect and to post. It's just a great app. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh man, I see the joy like coming out of
Yeah,
you.
I'm like, the app.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
that is so awesome, man. Oh man, I love that. That's so awesome, man. So speaking of, like I said, we didn't stop there. So beyond making it, man, tell us you have your sweatshirt. I am soul food, man. The journal. Tell us about I am soul food, man. Tell us about that too. Hey, let's go.
Yes. I keep my soul food journal near me at all times, just in case I need to write something down real quick. But yes,
Yeah.
whew, soul food, my second baby. Soul food, the soul food journal that feels like home, is a writing resource that was created to help us as a community develop personally,
Mhm.
align spiritually, and it also helps aid collective healing. So the idea is
Mhm.
that everybody who uses this journal will be inspired by the stories that are in it and
Wow.
also by the story that they'll write and that they'll use
Wow.
their story and these stories to empower somebody else. And
Wow.
so, yes, it is a affirmation, prayer, and gratitude journal. It has three separate sections.
Mhm.
There are stories, short stories from my family
Mm.
merged in there. There are quotes from the three eldest members of my family in there.
Wow. Wow.
And there are a set of reflection questions for each section. And then there's the opportunity for you to free write as well. So,
Wow.
literally everything that I've ever wanted in a journal
Yes.
is in this journal.
Oh man, that is
Yes.
beautiful. That's so beautiful, man. And tell us, man, because uh I love that just like you said, you put so much of yourself into it,
Hmm.
to really make it feel like home. I love, like you said, even the
Yes.
name. I am
Yes.
soul food, like soul food. You hear
Mhm.
soul food, it just feels like
Yes.
relaxing, like comforting, and so tell us too, man, because journaling, just writing, tell us, how some of those benefits that can come for the people who may not be writers, who might not be people who journal or write things down. Tell us about like how that really helps people.
The first word that comes to mind is freedom.
Mm,
It's being able to write write down your true, honest thoughts, gives you a sense of freedom.
yes.
Truth telling gives you a sense of freedom. And that's what journaling is to me. Two things for me: it is storytelling, truth telling, and then also legacy building for
Mm,
me.
mm.
Because when you leave, depending on, you might want to leave them behind. You might say, don't look in those journals, and that's fine. But for me, it is truly, yes, two things: storytelling, writing my story, and affirming who I am, discovering who I am, and then also leaving legacy. Because when I leave, my children and my grandchildren or whomever, the world will
Mhm.
have writings from me. And so
Yes.
to me, that's giving me ownership of my story, because there
Yes.
are so many stories that are lost that we don't know anything about, and
Mhm.
so many stories that have been manipulated,
Mm. Mhm.
because there are gaps. I don't want there will be some gaps. But I don't want people to wonder who I was when I'm not here.
Right. Oh my gosh.
I want you to know, and you will, because you
Yes.
have my story,
Wow.
right? I leave that
Yes.
behind, and I am a firm believer that when you write, when you have something published, or if it's not published, if it's in a journal,
Mhm.
you live forever. You live until the last person says your name.
Wow.
Is how you live until the last person says your
His name.
name. And so if
Whew.
you leave things behind, if you leave, whether it's, writing or a program, whatever it is for you, if you leave something behind and people are always saying your name, you're always alive. And so that's definitely one of the two of the benefits. Well, three:
Yes.
freedom, storytelling, and legacy building.
Yeah.
But then also just the I started journaling at a very low point. Probably the time I was depressed was when I started journaling. A
Mm.
counselor actually
Mm.
gave me my very first official journal. I used to
Wow.
write on notepads and everything all the time.
Yeah.
That's always been my comfort, my sense of relief, like just jotting down how I'm feeling or what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
But my counselor at Spelman College, actually, she's the one who, she went into a little corner, I'll never forget it, in her office, and it's like she pulled it out of nowhere, like it was just there for me.
Yeah.
And she was like, I had this. Use
Wow.
this and write down
Wow.
how you're feeling. And from that day
Wow.
forward, that's what I've done, and it's definitely been healing for me. So
Wow.
healing, just to be able to, like I said, tell the truth,
Mhm.
to learn more about myself,
Yes.
and then go back and to reread those things, and
Mhm.
almost like I'm reintroducing myself to myself.
Mhm.
Um, it's been so affirming. It's just been a wonderful experience. So yeah,
Wow.
I
Oh.
know I gave many benefits.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's great, man. That is so good. Oh man, I love that. Yeah, especially the truth telling, man. What you said about
Mm,
the truth telling, being able to express yourself. I think that is something that just as people in general, we're not always taught to do that in a healthy way.
mhm.
You can definitely put on social media, you can see the whole express of a person, in a 80 word
Yeah.
caption, or and hey, it's your page, but I love what you said, just having a safe space in many respects, and a haven, where you can
Yeah.
go and say, hey, okay, these are the things I'm feeling personally. Let me express these things. And like you said, learning more about yourself, because I truly do believe that with that writing, you can learn to put things down where maybe you didn't have the thought out process beforehand, but now, like you said, you go get the soul food journal, write that thing down, write it out, man, write the vision, make it plain, do
Make
those
it
things.
plain. Yes, and the lovely thing about this is that I created it so that whether you're a seasoned journaler or this is your first time ever journaling, it's for all of us.
Yes.
And the questions in there, I do ask some of the hard questions. And that is intentional because also I feel like as it's just I can speak for my experience in the Black community. I can't speak for the entire Black community. My experience in the Black community, we don't get asked the hard questions. We don't, no one asks us who, you might have that one person because some of these questions came from somebody asking me, but it probably wasn't until adulthood. But like, who are you? What legacy do you want to leave?
Yes.
What are you afraid of?
Yes.
What keeps you up at night? These hard questions, and when you hear them and when someone finally asks you, it's like oh my gosh, I've been waiting.
Yes.
I've been waiting to say this. Yes. Oh my goodness. And so that's what it was for me when someone asked me. I'm like, oh my goodness, like who am I?
Yes.
Beyond a student at the time. Beyond an evaluator now. Like who am I beyond what I do? Like what are the characteristics that I possess that make me who I am? Yes. And then if I don't like some of them, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Who am I striving to be? Is this okay for me just being this person? Do I want to evolve? And so that's why this journal specifically is so great. It's because I do ask the difficult questions and it's going to make you think, but it's also going to make you feel like you have a friend, that you do have a safe space. I always say it's the safe space that you can carry. Yes. And that you truly are affirmed and uplifted from, like I said, the stories that are in here and the story that you will write.
Oh my gosh. Mayah, you have encouraged us today. Oh my goodness. This has been just beautiful, man. This is so encouraging. I love it, man. And you all where can they find these things just so they know where can they find these things as well?
Absolutely. So the Soul Food Journal, I would encourage everybody to join our community on Instagram, and that is at @IamSoulFood_. And on there's a link, of course, that'll take you directly to purchasing the Soul Food Journal or the I Am Soul Food sweatshirt, whatever you like there. Also, if you want to learn more about Soul Food and MaconIt and any other community building or services that I provide, because going back to, you asking what was one of my challenges, and I said not knowing the nonprofit process. Now I help people do that. So if you want to learn more about that, MaconIt Soul Food, you can visit my website at mayahmalika.com, and that's MayaHmalikaH.com. And shoot me a DM on my IG if you would like to as well. I'm very open. I love helping. I love sharing. And if I can't help, I love connecting people to people who can.
Awesome. Oh man. Awesome, man. Oh man. Okay, so before we close out, man, this has been such a rich conversation. Don't want it to end, man, but we know.
I know.
Oh man. So we wanted to so we have a thing here what we call the verse freestyle. I know you said you're not an artist, musician, no, but we have a verse freestyle, right? So what we do is we give you a Bible verse and you just give us like your quick thought through take on that. And so I got one here for you. Okay. So it's 3 John chapter 1, verse 2. And it says, "Beloved, I pray that in every way you may prosper and enjoy good health as your soul also prospers." So give us your take on that, Mayah, just whatever you feel on your heart about that.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Can you read it one more time?
Sure.
I heard you, but I need to.
Absolutely. So it says, "Beloved, I pray that in every way you may prosper and enjoy good health as your soul also prospers."
Yeah. So the words that stood out, I had to jot them down, is beloved, prosper, and good health.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I loved that it started with beloved, because
Mm-hmm.
beloved to me is an affirmation in itself.
Yes.
You know, beloved.
Yes.
You are loved. You are loved. Not
Yes.
only are you loved, you are loved. So beloved.
Yes.
You know, you
Yes.
will prosper and be in good
Yes.
health, and it
Yes.
mentioned your soul too. And so just I would like to just give some affirmations from that. Like I said, you
Yes.
are loved. So everybody listening, everybody watching, you are loved. You are loved. You will prosper. Um, when you put out what you want from this life, the world will rise up to meet you. I truly believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you will inquire great things. You will have great things. This life is set up for you to have great things. I think that's important. I think that's
Yes.
important because it can
Yes.
look bad. It can look
Yes.
bad. And that is
Yes.
what things can look bad. But I'm telling you, when you put out into this universe what you want to receive, the world will rise up to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know I'm probably going off the freestyle because I'm just thinking of different things that
You good.
it's
You
okay.
good. You good.
One of a book that I love is The Alchemist.
Mm.
And one of the quotes from The Alchemist is that when you, it, I'm not quoting it correctly, but it's in general, it
Yeah.
says when you put out into the world what you want, everything in the world conspires in your favor.
Mm.
And that's very similar to what I said about the world will rise up to meet you. I truly believe that
Mm.
when we have a more positive mindset,
Mm.
when we learn more about ourselves through things like journaling,
Mm.
um, we we truly start to operate on a level of authenticity, the level of
Mm.
authenticity that God wants us to operate in.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
think where we lose it is when we're trying to be too much like her, too much like him, right?
That's
But when
good.
we
Yeah.
start to learn more about ourselves, when we start to realize that we are loved, beloved,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
start to learn that we can prosper in our authenticity. And when
Mm.
we do that, I think the things around us, and when I say the world, the people, the places, the
Yeah.
things, the
Yeah.
situations,
Yeah.
they start to meet us at our in our energy,
Yeah.
on our wavelength. We start to meet and things start to make sense and we start to prosper, like the scripture said,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what I would like to leave everybody with today, that you are loved, you are loved. And when you truly put out what you put out into the atmosphere, pray to God, about what you want, and you start to
Mm-hmm.
align yourself with your authentic self,
Yeah.
everything around you will line up and meet you there, and you will
Oh,
start to prosper. You will be in good health, and
yeah.
your soul will be enriched. I truly
Wow.
believe that.
Bombs, man. Drop bombs, man. That is awesome, man. Oh man, love that. Love that freestyle. Thank you so much, man. That is encouraging.
Mm.
Thank you for the affirmations. Seriously.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Okay, so we want to learn a little bit about you too, as we're closing.
Okay.
So tell us, man, just some of your favorites. This is favorite song, favorite movie,
Oh,
TV show. What you binge watching, favorite
yeah.
food. What talking to us?
It's so funny because I'm really bad at favorites. And I know you're like, what? I'm so bad at favorites because I like so many different things. And I'm one of those people who I'm like, oh, I don't want the other thing to feel bad that I called it a favorite, right? Like it's actually paying attention to me. But so it's so hard. But something I'm binge watching. Oh my goodness. I have a lot of TV shows that I'm
Mhm.
really into, or I've actually finished them all. But this one is good. I'm really into interviews. I love
Mhm.
watching interviews and listening to interviews and
Yeah.
reading interviews and
Yes.
conducting interviews. It's
Yes.
interesting. But the Black Love Doc,
Mm.
it's on OWN. Love it, love it,
Okay.
love it, because
Okay.
it's literally just a couple interviewing other couples, some
Mhm.
that we know, some that we don't, um, about their experiences in marriage. And I just
Mm.
absolutely love it because it's just it's nothing fancy. It's just one-on-one conversation, asking questions, and I just love to hear people's experiences. So that's something that I'm binging and that I really like right now. Favorite food, pasta, hands down.
Oh, man,
Y'all,
right
it is
there with you.
unhealthy. How much I love pasta. I could probably eat it every day if it was good for me, but it's not. So I try not to. But pasta is my favorite food. Favorite movie, I love Freedom Writers. Freedom Writers is one of my absolute favorite movies, and I just remembered that recently.
Wow.
I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't watched Freedom Writers in a long time, and I used to watch it like every day as a child.
Journaling too. The journaling is the biggest
You
part of it.
know what?
There you go.
I
Come
did not
back around.
even think of that.
Come back around. There you go.
Yes. That's it.
That's the biggest part. Come back around. It was when they started journaling, their true, authentic, like you said, authentic selves.
In the community building. That was it. Yeah.
You
so
just
Freedom Writers, one of my absolute favorite movies. Favorite genre of music. I love R&B. I love hip hop.
Yeah.
I love gospel as well, and I love them all in the same playlist. That's something that my friends laugh at me about, but I'm like, I'm one of those people. If you're in the car with me, you might take me to the King, and then like
knuckle you butt right after.
You might get it, and that's just a reflection of who I am. I love it all. I love it all. I feel like, was there another favorite? And then books.
Give us your favorite book for sure.
My favorite book is Letter to My Daughter by Maya Angelou. I love Maya Angelou. So favorite author, Maya Angelou, hands down. But Letter to My Daughter can be read by everybody. But because she only has a son, actually. She doesn't even have a daughter. Maya Angelou has one son. But Letter to My Daughter is truly, it gives you a deeper look into Maya Angelou's life, Dr. Maya Angelou's life. But then also from that book is where I found my love for the type of storytelling that I want to do when I start writing books. And then also for this journal, because it's short stories. And there's a lesson at the end of every story through her experience. And I just love that. I love feeling connected to the writer when I'm reading. And so she has so many great life lessons in there. And so I try to read it yearly just to remind myself of what I've learned from that book. So Letter to My Daughter by Maya Angelou's favorite book.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. Put that on the list, y'all. Come on.
Yes, put it on the list.
On the list. Well, man, Maya, thank you so much for all these gems, all these things that you have shared with us today. It has truly been an encouragement. And I know that for every person who listens here, man, they are going to truly walk away, charged up, ready to embark on this life with the right mindset. Remember, as Maya said, beloved, you will prosper. You will prosper, be in good health, and will succeed. So until next time, from the Do Well Collective podcast, we're saying, see you later.
Yes, see ya.
Hey, it's Jalen from the Do Well Collective podcast. Thank you for listening. Man, that conversation with Maya was fire. Man, she dropped so many nuggets on us, man. Just blessed us with the affirmations and so many other great things that she said. So we want you all to join in on the conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, we want you to share it on your social media platform and be sure to tag us at Do Well Collective so that we can start a great conversation about all the things that were shared today. Now, until next time, we want you all to do well.